Welcome to Application, the TYPO3 Community Podcast. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm Jeffrey A. McGuire. A lot of people call me Jam. And this is where we celebrate the TYPO3 community, sharing your stories, talking about your projects and the difference you make in, around, and with TYPO3 CMS.
I mean, TYPO3, it's not only because of the technical reasons and the tool, but also the community.
As we meet that community, I'll be looking for insights we can learn from.
Comes to your perspective on how you see things, because
Sure.
I'm one kind of person. I learn in one way. You're a different kind of person. You probably learn in a different way.
I love seeing that people are motivated by what I am doing and what the marketing team, for example, is doing, because I get lots of good feedback and that motivates me to do better. And then that's like a cycle that repeats.
I'll be asking about my guests' origin stories.
Well, that's a good question. So I turned my hobby into a profession. That's why I started my own company. I like coding.
Yeah.
Of course, I have a few other hobbies, but TYPO3 is fun for me, and that's why I do it, and not because I work somewhere and get money.
We'll talk clients, projects, and successes.
The biggest project I've done so far was the Sony PlayStation Network. It's not that small. That was a setup with, I think, around 99 languages.
Wow, nice. Application is conversations connecting developers, marketers, consultants, integrators, designers, and end users with each other and the value we all deliver. So what's the coolest thing you've ever done with TYPO3 so far?
The coolest thing is probably we did a completely new site for an existing customer, which they had a TYPO3 installation before, which was based on, I think, 7.6. We were actually able to convince them to start fresh. And
Nice.
We did a completely new concept and completely built the whole customer management structure new. So that was really cool.
Oh. Meet the humans behind the technology on Application, the TYPO3 Community Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, coming to a podcast app near you. Here's a little something that might not make it into another episode. TYPO3 project lead Benny Mac and I ended up talking about how it is to work during a pandemic and how that might be better or worse than it used to be.
Benny Mac.
Yes.
This conversation is taking place in later 2020. And as we can tell from your home level beard and home office and kids' craft room and the fact that I haven't had a haircut since February. But how's your year been?
Well, I was actually, of course, the year started completely different in January, February than it turned out to be in March and April. So I had to get used to having lots of kids around. I have 3, and that's been quite good. But at the same time, I felt like a little bit of demotivation during the summer in terms of like coding and the future and where everything's going, not just with TYPO3, but, for myself. But that actually got better. So right now, as of November 2020, I would say it's a really different, but also good year for myself because I'm still healthy. We'll see in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but,
well,
yeah, but yeah, from that point of view, that's quite good but different, and that's sometimes a good thing. That even though you think it's not as you planned, it's still a good thing that things moved a different route. So I like that.
I guess we're getting a gigantic dose of perspective this year as well.
Yeah.
So now, just between you and me, would you rather have the 3 kids running around and doing crafts behind you, or your 25 colleagues running around and doing crafts around you in the office?
Well, if the 25 colleagues would do crafts, I don't know if I would like that. But the 3 kids are really great, so it's not bothering me at all.
Achim would come to you, Benny, can you help me
Yes.
cut this out?
Yes, and I have these great headphones.
Where's the blue crayon?
Yes, the noise canceling headphones. I put them on, and it's like I don't want to hear anything. Shutting myself out.
The head of, what was it at the time? DevOps kind of didn't exist. The head of infrastructure at the company I worked at, it was one of those horrible group offices that I don't like much, with a bunch of people in the same room. And so it was funny because it was like a very large L shape, and the main entrance was at the end of the long end. And so that's where the reception area was, and the like the plants, and where you brought clients for meetings and stuff. And then all the way down, you had sort of like HR and finance, and then you had project management, and then you sort of had, marketing and sales was in there. And then you go around the corner, and there are the developers. And then behind the developers, with an extra high cubicle wall, was like the operations and the sysadmin guys. And like at the developer area, there started to be posters and Legos and stuff. And basically by the time you got all the way to the back of the room, there were like permanently mounted Nerf guns and, large dinosaurs and stuff. And anyway, one of the guys, of course, to cope with being in a group office, he wore super, super sophisticated noise canceling headphones. But his boss, who was the VP of engineering, I guess, could never get his attention. And we didn't have Slack at that point. There wasn't a company internal chat. So anyway, the VP of engineering had Nerf darts that said, Michael, turn around. Michael, look at me. he would shoot him until they like brought him out of his flow. And
that's, my wife is doing this. She's like, she's working with the lights, because that's how she gets my attention. So for those of you listening to the audio, the visual to that was the lights going on and off in Benny's room.
Thanks to the TYPO3 Association for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you B13 and Stephanie Kreutzer for our logo. Shout out to the fabulous Patrick Gaumont, TYPO3 developer and musician extraordinaire, for the studio demo rough cut of our theme music. And thanks to the people and voices you heard today. Conversations with Raquel Foucault, Louisa Fassbender, Thomas Nora, Benny Mack, and many others will be in your feed in the coming months, if you subscribe. Do